A builder comes up with a project, 100 apartments, each costing 50 lakhs. You invest your life savings in one apartment, and after selling all the apartments, the builder has 50 crores, whereas you have zero balance in your bank account. Now, when a person has 50 crores in his bank balance, what do you think he would do? He might want to buy an expensive car, expensive clothes, travel abroad for a holiday, live in a 5-star hotel, live a lavish lifestyle with your money. So what happens to your apartment? That is where you need to be careful. Has the builder built your apartment as per the promises made in the brochure? Or has he cut corners to pay for his lavish lifestyle with your money? So now that I have your attention, let me tell you some of the points that you need to watch out for while dealing with the builder. My name is Dheeraj, and today I'm going to address some of the problems that home buyers face while dealing with a builder. Everyone dreams of buying an apartment. You invest your life savings in an apartment in the hope of a better life. But once you have handed over your money to the builder, you begin to see that there's a difference between what was promised in the brochure and the reality on the ground. If you're one of those persons who's bought an apartment from a very honest, responsible and sincere builder, it's time for you to switch off and watch something more useful on YouTube. So the rest of us, we face a lot of problems with builders. I will not be able to address each problem. I will focus on problems at the community level, those that are to be handled by the managing committee of the Resident Welfare Association. Before I get into the problems with builders, let me establish some ground rules. The first one is that when you purchase an apartment, you hand over your life savings to the builder. Now the builder collects money from a lot of buyers like you. So if there's an apartment complex of 100 apartments and each apartment is sold for 50 lakhs, then the builder would have 50 crores in his bank account, whereas your bank account would be zero. Now this is very important while understanding the dynamics between the buyer and the builder. With money in his account, the builder is full of confidence, whereas you, with zero balance in your account, your confidence is a little low, shaky. The second point, some buyers would like to go to court to get justice. I'm not a big fan of going to court against a builder. Later in this video, I'll explain why. The first point is the handover of the apartments by the builder to the owners. Typically, once a project is completed, the builder starts handing over possession of the apartments to the buyers. The builder makes an attempt to persuade the buyers to form an association, a residents' welfare association, to handle the day-to-day affairs of the community. Now, why the builder does this is because after an apartment is completed, he would not want to take on the cost of maintaining the premises. At the same time, my advice is that buyers should form a managing committee at the earliest. Later, I'll be explaining why. So until the buyers form a managing committee, the builder will manage the premises with the money taken from each buyer as advance maintenance. So that takes me to the next point, which is advance maintenance. Usually what happens is that once the project is completed, the builder starts the services like the clubhouse, the swimming pool, maintains the landscape, and runs a sewage treatment plant, a water treatment plant, and other facilities for which he needs money which he won't invest on his own. he will take the money from a buyer in the form of an advance maintenance. The builder collects advance maintenance to be able to maintain the complex for anywhere between 6 months and 24 months, which is 6 months and 2 years. This advance maintenance is given by each buyer so that the builder can maintain the premises before the managing committee is formed. Now, what happens with this advance maintenance amount is that once the project is completed, the builder identifies vendors to maintain the facilities like the clubhouse, the swimming pool, the STP, WTP and other facilities. At this point, the builder feels no obligation to get you the best deal. So he will pick vendors of his choice, so the cost of service may not be favorable to a buyer. This is something buyers need to watch out for. But unfortunately, buyers will be in no position to dictate the cost of service or seek the best cost of service. The builder has your money and you don't have a management and you don't have a managing committee. So the builder does exactly what he wants with your money. So it is very likely that in the initial days, your maintenance cost would be very high. The only way that you can reduce this cost is by forming the managing committee at the earliest. That takes me to the next point, which is the managing committee. Forming a managing committee is not going to be easy. Most of you would have purchased an apartment for the first time, and also most of you would be volunteering to be a member of the managing committee for the first time. So it'll be a mix of people who have varied skill sets and varied thinking processes. So it's very difficult for them to work as a team in the initial days. In contrast, the builder would have a lot of experience handling such projects. Hence, the managing committee would be at a huge disadvantage where experience is concerned. The timing of forming the managing committee is very important. The builder collects advance maintenance and then manages the complex for anywhere between 6 months and 24 months. If you delay forming the managing committee, the builder will continue to manage your premises, but the contracts will be signed by the builder and they may not be very cost efficient. Hence, you might pay a higher cost for maintenance of the premises. The earlier you form the managing committee and take over the day-to-day operations, the better for the buyer. Even after you form the managing committee, it's not going to be easy because the vendor contracts would already have been signed. Now, the builder is not going to just hand over the contracts to you. He will try to delay the process as much as possible so that you are not in a position to understand the details of the process or determine the best cost of service. So you will be more or less in a rush to renew the contracts because you don't want any disturbance in your services. And you might end up signing with the same vendor at the same cost. So you end up with higher maintenance cost. So the best thing, so my advice is that you form the managing committee at the earliest and try to identify a few buyers who are subject matter experts, who are in a position to understand vendor contracts and also negotiate with vendors. Once you do that, before the first year is over, you might be in a position to identify better vendors. Also remember, if you delay forming the managing committee, the builder will renew the contract after the end of 1 year at the same inflated costs. Since we are talking about cost, let me also tell you that the builder might charge a handling fee for managing the advance maintenance funds. Yeah, these are some ways in which builders make money. So what happens is you have already paid the advance maintenance to manage your property for anywhere between 6 months and 24 months. the builder charges a fee from buyers to do this work, which would be anywhere from 10 to 15%. Now let's see this in numbers. Suppose you have an apartment complex of 100 apartments and each buyer pays 1 lakh as advance maintenance. So the builder has roughly 1 crore as advance maintenance funds. Now this money, he would charge a handling fee of anywhere from 10 to 15%, which would amount to 10 to 15 lakhs. Now this is for just 1 crore. Now imagine a property which has more than 100 apartments, say 200 apartments, 300 apartments, 500 apartments, 2000 apartments, and the advance maintenance also would not be only 1 lakh. It could be a higher amount. Now the builder has his money, he keeps his money with him, taken in advance, and he can do whatever he wants with this money. You will not be able to get any accounts from the builder on how this money was spent. So basically, the builder will do whatever he pleases. He is very likely to try to pay his vendors with your money.